Hello and welcome back to the truly Bedrock server with me, Groover. Now today we're actually going to be doing a lot of theory work. I've said a lot of this on stream, so I will say it today very simply. I want to live in the Nether. That's it. This mountain, this snow, this mess, this hilly, this cavey, too much for me. So I'm going to go live in the Nether, and that seems like a sensible idea to me because it's nice and warm. And that's about all I can say. It's not very safe. That's the thing that I need to sort out, and that's why we're doing a lot of theory today. Today, we're going to design a Nether mob switch, okay, which is going to switch off all of the mob spawns in the Nether for me for as long as I want, you know, whatever I feel like. It's pretty simple, really. But we'll go through all of the theory on that today. But first, before we go and do that, I'm going to go see if I've had any sales. Oh boy! Oh my lord, I'm rich. See, it is always smart to get a shop set up straight away with some of the end things, because people will buy them. I might just have these ender chests back because people don't really need to go to the end for that. There's plenty of obsidian around, and they don't seem as popular. I only put up 4 shulkers for sale and 1 set of wings, and well, I'm feeling pretty set. I'm feeling pretty good about this. So maybe I just remove my shop. No, I'll leave it there just in case I get a few more customers. Not suckers, customers. Anyway, let's get straight into this theory stuff. Right, first things first, welcome to my laboratory. Now, this is an area which I made in the Nether. Well, that's a bit of a mess. I'll have to sort that out later. But anyway, this is an area that I made in the Nether. I basically ran a few commands, cleared everything between bedrock and bedrock. So it gives myself a perfect environment to test these theories. And I've already been through all of these tests. What we're going to do is we're going to go through the tests again for you guys and see where we get to. And hopefully you will learn a thing or two about mob spawning and about how to make a mob switch in Bedrock Edition 1.18 and basically any version of Bedrock Edition. I'm pretty sure these rules have been in for such a long time. The ones that I'm using anyway, there's some slight variations, but they don't matter. They're not really relevant to this one. So, first things first. When a mob spawns, this is the area around it which it checks for other mobs, okay? And these little blocks here represent one chunk. Each chunk is 16 by 16. And we're ignoring the vertical axis because it ignores the vertical axis basically. It will check the entire column all the way floor to ceiling for every single chunk in that 9 by 9 chunk area around it. Okay, and it is square. So when a mob tries to spawn, it will check that area and see if there's space for it to spawn, either if that's in its own personal cap or if it's in the environment's cap. So like a cave biome has got a cap of 16. I think that's 16 anyway. It's been a while since I looked at these, but I've tested my numbers and they work at the numbers that I'm using, so I'm going with it. So it'll check if it can actually spawn in that location based on the number of mobs in that area. Now, logically speaking, if the cap is full, then it can't spawn. Very, very simple. Now, the simplest way of putting this is, if we have 16 piglins in a pod here, and these are all marked out chunks, these are all correctly chunk lined and all of that kind of thing. If we have 16 piglins in here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way out to that orange one, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, that orange one in a big square, I will get absolutely nothing spawning around that area. Now, as it happens, now in the game, the spawning sphere is 44 blocks, which at every single point, I said 44? Maybe it's less than 44, I'm not sure if they changed that. At every single point that falls within the square, if that makes sense. So there's a 44 block square from where I am, or circle, sorry, from where I am. Sphere even, it's a sphere from where I'm stood, where things will try and spawn around me. So, what's going to happen is, around me in that 44 block area, something will try and spawn. It will then check the chunk that it's in, and then it will check the area, like I showed out there, 1, 2, 3, out to that orange one, and see if it's allowed to spawn in this area. Okay, it is a huge area. So realistically, it's a very simple way to get the mobs not to spawn. Now, the other side of it is, these areas do not need to be loaded for the mob to check in them. So these orange and red concrete powders basically represent a ticking area. Now normally a ticking area would be like, right, everything in here is loaded, everything out there is not loaded. But because of the way the mob spawning works, it will check outside of the ticking area. So for example, this, let me build an example. So in this example, I'm a player and I'm stood right there between these 4 blocks. Now that means that mobs hypothetically should be able to spawn all the way around me, okay, in a 44 block radius spherically. Now over here we've got a load of mobs which are persistent. You have to have persistent mobs. Now my game is going to check over there and go, hey, you know what, there's a load of mobs over there already, best not spawn anything over there. So right up to this line, no mobs will spawn in that area, which is kind of cool. But mobs can spawn anywhere outside in this area where there are no mobs per se, or there's nothing filling the cap. Okay, so let's demonstrate this actually on the experimental area over here. Right, firstly let's demonstrate a normal mob spawning area. There are absolutely no mobs around here. Down below we've got some commands running. I'll show you the commands real quick. So this one, we've got, basically it's going to set a block underneath any mob or any entity which does not have a tag, which is stayer. Now when we're going to move on, I'm going to add some mobs into the area over here which will have the tag stayer, which means that this will not set the block underneath them. Okay, and then this one is going to kill everything that doesn't have the tag stayer. Very simple really. So boom, 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 and then we're going to get some very interesting results. So let's go on up here first. It's actually going to set blocks underneath me, unless, am I tagged? Okay, that's fine, I've already got that tag. So, next thing's up, I need to turn on mob spawning. So game rule, do mob spawning true. Okay, now we've got some mob spawning. The killing thing is not happening. In fact, none of them happening because I've got the things turned off. Oh my lord. Always remember to turn on your redstone. There are other ways of doing this. I know, I can disable it by commands, but I didn't want to do that because I'd probably end up feeling confused. But anyway. Game rule, do mob spawning true. And let's set the difficulty going again. Right, so what you can see is where the mobs are spawning, we are getting the orange blocks being placed around me. Okay, now I'm going to use a program called Cheat Engine to speed up the game. I only ever use this for actually testing things, so if I pop that up to 50 times the normal speed, we should get an idea pretty quickly of how the mob spawning is working and what it looks like. Right, so I've updated the game rule to be false for mob spawning, and as you can see I've got this area around me which is going to be the... is it 44 or is it 42 now? Anyway, that distance. Doesn't really matter too much about how big the distance is. The point is this will work. So, we've now got this pattern laid out. Now if I go down here, let's pick a random pod, it doesn't really matter which. We're going to fill this one up with piglins, and there's a reason why I'm using piglins, and you'll see in a moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So the main reason I'm picking on piglins here is because they are really easy to make persistent. You don't need name tags, you don't need anything much. So all that I need to do is go up here. We're going to get the goldy looking boots going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I make that to be 16. Let's get rid of that. We're going to throw all those in there. They all pick up a set. They're all going to put them on. And it's going to be awesome. Okay? So they've all put on their boots. I'm going to tag these ones with the tag. So there we go. We've added tags to these 16 piglins over here. We're going to go back over to my command blocks. And I'm just going to adjust this one. And we're going to get it to place concrete 2 rather than concrete 1. That's simple. So it's going to be a different colour. So we know what the mob spawning radius is. Now we're going to perform a very similar experiment, but this time with a slightly different colour. And let's see, one of these pods, can't remember which, one of them has got piglins throughout it. So let's see how that plays out. Right, just turned on the mob spawning again. We've got a little collection of them turning up over there, and as you can see, they're putting down purple, or it looks purplish anyway. So let's crank this back up to 11, or 50 as I prefer to call it. Now, as you can see, I'm getting mob spawning all the way over there, lots and lots of it, around about 3/4, but this area, absolutely nothing. Okay. We'll give this a few seconds longer. Okay, let's turn that off, and we will turn that to false. So we can actually have a look at the shape of this. Right. So, as you can see, I've effectively stopped mob spawning in that entire area. Now I'm just going to go around and I'm going to add some piglins to all of the pods around the edge here. Okay, now you'll see they're not actually squared up to each other. That is because I want it to produce this effect. So if they're all squared up to each other, then this is the effect that you'd get. You'd essentially stop all mob spawning in this massive area. Okay? And these are all representative chunks, as I said before. Now, if I offset them by 1 or 2 or whatever, just a small amount, then I'm going to have this little spot in the middle where mobs can spawn, which is quite nice, but one chunk isn't so nice. So what I've gone for is, I've gone for this kind of setup. So they're all offset from each other like this. So there's going to be this 32 by 32 area right in the middle where mobs can spawn. Okay? Makes sense to me, kind of. Because what I'm thinking is, if I set this up properly, I can have a completely safe nether all the way around me, except from one controlled 32 by 32 area right in the middle. So let's go ahead and prove that. So I'm going to go fill up these, I'm going to add a load of tags, we're going to do all of the things. Back in a mo. Right, and we're back. Now I've got them filled up all of the pods, I've updated the colour selection on the command. We're just going to stand up here and prove the first theory, that I can block all of the mob spawns completely. And then we'll move on to the next theory, which is that I can control where the mobs spawn. And we'll do that pretty quickly. Because of the way things are set up, this is going to be quite easy to demonstrate. So, let's start off with enable cam. Yes, we want that to be true. And then I want to do game rule, do mob spawning true. Okay. Now, it's very quiet, so you don't know if it's worked or not, basically, because there's no mob spawning happening within the entire area around me. Pretty simple. I'll just crank this up again so that I'm using the cheat engine to speed things up to 50 times the normal speed. As you can see, I've started breathing a bit faster. Now, Let's just turn that off, because basically nothing's happening. I can't, you know, we could wait here all day and not going to see anything happening. If I just come down, we'll put that in place. Now if I stand about here and then we look upwards, oh look at that, there's a couple of things already spawned. That's quite cool. So let's turn on this and apply it, and we're turning it up to 50 again. Now this is going to look a bit like a QR code, because what I'm proving with this is, with placement of the pods, I can control the mob spawns to just this square here. The reason there weren't any mob spawns before is because you have a 24 block radius around you where mobs will not spawn. I was stood in the middle of there, and the distance from the middle to the outside is like 16 multiplied by 1.4. So that's a little bit less than 24. So there was never going to be any mobs spawning around me when I was stood on that platform. From down here, lots of mobs spawning. Pretty cool, huh? Not getting any mobs spawning out here. You see those funny little blue dots? Those occasional ones? They are Endermen. So what happens is the Enderman spawns, they teleport out. They're a bit of a problem, but they can only teleport 16 blocks in any direction, so I'm not going to worry about them too much. I can probably sort them out. So that would mean having another kind of like, if I have a 32 by 32 area in the middle where mobs can spawn, I need another chunk outside which is reasonably mob spawn, so they can't teleport out to it. So that's pretty cool, isn't it? The reason they're now spawning is because I'm around about 24 blocks below that platform. Right, we're going to stop that, and we're going to turn that off. So, in that way you can see that I can control where mobs are going to spawn in the Nether. And now the difficult bit is, how on earth are you going to imply that in the game? Like, how am I going to get 16 piglins into a pod where I want them? And the answer is, this is how. So as you can see down here, we've got a load of piglins trapped down there. They've all got the boots on. Now the basic theory with this is, it's going to be difficult to demonstrate it because nothing's spawning around here anymore. I mean, we've got these things, but I'm going to have a little think about what I'm going to do about these, because they seem to spawn as passive even though they're aggressive, which is kind of annoying. But you know, whatever. We'll live with that. I'm not going to worry about it. The occasional hoglin is not a big deal. I mean, I could trap a few hoglins and then it will be over and done with as well, but you know, maybe this is better. Anyway, the theory is, let's kill these guys off. Right, that is them all dead. We'll just pop down and collect their boots because they could come in useful. So the first thing that I'm going to do is, I'm going to fill my machine back up. Go do. Right, so that's that done. If I go to game, oh no, that's not a spell game. Game mode naught, then I should. Did I do that right? Jeez. Game mode naught, not game node naught. Right, so we're in Survivor now. I've given myself a few effects just to be sure that, you know, whatever I'm doing here, I'm not going to die, so I can show you how it works in theory, and then I've got to put this into practice in the game. Now, if I just press that, so you can see I've now got a gold set of boots right there, and that's ready and waiting. This is a simple little machine which basically, when the piglins... Have we got any piglins around here? Let's go and find us some. They hate me, so they'll follow me. I mean, I'd really like some naturally spawned ones. So I'm going to have to spend a little bit of time in game trying to find myself some piglins. I heard somebody then. Where are you at? Tell you what I saw though. I saw a baldy head go over the edge here. Come on, you. This way. Jeez, you've lost interest in me already. Come on. Don't care about them. Just follow me. I'm the important one here. Oh, there's some more. Oh, that's a brute. Okay. The brute is not going to fall into my plan the way that I'd have liked. So I might just have to kill him. Brutes are surprisingly tough, even to fire. Oops. Where's it gone? Yeah, I'd be in serious trouble if I didn't have a load of resistance turned on. Right, that's one dealt with. Come on. You gotta be ready to take a few hits from these guys as well. Because they will get you. Oh, we've got two of them. Beautiful. This should demonstrate my machine perfectly. Come on, both of you. Down you come. You still following me? Good. Keep on coming. No, don't fight amongst yourselves, guys. Right, all that I need to do is run around the back here. One of them's going to get distracted. The other one I'm just going to have to keep on running around from. So as you saw then, it walked in, the floor underneath it vanished. Right, go on, get distracted by those lovely looking boots. I want to demonstrate this to people, come on. Right, picks up the boots, down they fall, extra boots dispensed. In there with the boots, job done. Okay? Rinse and repeat 16 times. That simple. The biggest problem is going to be finding them. Right, we're back. What I just did there was I went away after killing off all of the piglins down in my little pod. I decided to see how long it would take me to actually refill that from scratch. New piglins, completely, well, I'll say completely in survival. I've got regen and resistance, so I didn't have to deal with dying, and I didn't have to deal with armor and all of those kinds of things. It took me about, I would say, half an hour to refill that pod. We're getting the hoglins, but the hoglins I think we can deal with in another way, and I've been stood up here now for maybe 10-15 minutes, and I haven't heard a single ghast, which is amazing. So, that is what we're going to be doing on the next episode from Truly Bedrock server. But one more thing before we go, one more little trick and tip, which I'm very excited for in a way. So, game mode 1. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to the lava. So, carpet. Now, most servers are going to have fire tick turned off, so I'm going to turn fire tick off on here. Oh, 1 minute. Right. So I've turned the fire tick off on this world. Now, I want to make this into a completely safe nether on Truly Bedrock, of course. This is just my testing world. But the one thing that I found that you could do, which is quite easy, is you can place... Well, if I stand here and we start trying this. So if I go like that. 1 and 2. Go away. Get out of my face. There. Go on. You can basically place carpet indefinitely on lava. Carpet is super cheap, it's spawn proof, it's not going to set on fire if you've got fire tick off, and yeah, I think that's going to be one of my very, very first farms, is a little sheepy farm, which is going to produce lots of orange wool, so I can replace all of the lava, or not replace it, just cover the lava. Oh yeah, this is a fun thing as well. It'll actually place on top of flowing lava, which is really cool. Don't try this with water, it won't work, you'll be sad. But it works with lava, which is amazing. And once you've got it moving, as long as it's deep enough, you can just basically place it in front of you just like that. Now if I then go ahead and replace like all of this, then I'll have this lovely area that I can just walk over and it'll look kind of right. and all of these coming down I will end up replacing with wool. So 2 things left to do. One of them is going to be to find the perfect place in the Nether for myself to live, and then I need to set up a wool farm, and then let's call it 3 things. I need to get these piglin pods set up, and I might have a look at some hoglin pods as well, because if my area crosses over a crimson forest, then I've got hoglins to deal with, which is going to be a pain. But it completely mops up the Enderman as well, which is amazing. Mops up every single Nether mob except from the hoglins, which is fantastic. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed that theory episode from me today. Lots of good information in there. If you want an actual video on how to do your own Nether mob switch, let me know down in the comments, because I will do that. I feel like all the information's here, but some people want like a dedicated video. Anyway, that's all we've got time for today. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Take care, and we'll see you again soon. Goodbye!